Welcome to Mercworks, episode 23, brought to you by Buckley Traditions, high-quality, full-grain leather products that are saddle-stitched and made to last a lifetime. Use promo code MERCWORKS at checkout for 10% off the entire order at buckleytraditions.com. Today's guest for episode 23 really needs no introduction, but we'll do it anyway. Morgan Lerette, the author of Guns, Girls, Greed. I Was a Blackwater Mercenary in Iraq, and former Army intel officer and Air Force vet. What else am I leaving out?
I smell nice. I smell like cinnamon.
Brad, what did you say? Like the world's...
Oh, he's the president of the Jeff Gordon fan club, I think, or something like that. I read that, I think, somewhere online.
Jeff Gordon, the race car driver?
Yeah.
No, dude, I was Jimmy Johnson all the way.
That's what they all say now. That's what they all say now after he won all his championships.
Dude,
it was all DuPont everything. I saw it.
Dude, I had the Lowe's number 48 Jimmy Johnson hat back in 2004 with Blackwater. I got it around here somewhere. All my buddies signed it. Somebody drew a huge dong on it, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is your third appearance on Mercworks podcast, higher viewership or listenership than MSNBC,
which is not anything to brag about.
I
hate to say that, but no, you guys are doing good work. You guys keep popping up in some of the little forums that I participate in. So
we need to start calling your appearances the read-in or read-in with Morgan Lerette.
I mean that's
like
sexy.
Intel speak almost. Like you're now read in.
Well, you read on and Intel read in. Well, you call whatever you want and be like, hey, we found this idiot. The idiot's guide to mercenary work.
So we had been following your postings on Instagram at Private Military News. And you seem to have your fingers on the pulse of what's happening throughout the world, or just really good at the Google machine.
Yeah. This thing called Google came out, I think, in like 2000. No, it's dude. To be honest with you, the private military contractor, the mercenary work, all that stuff, it's just blowing up right now because nobody wants to put boots on the ground. Like every country on the planet is saying, we want certain things. We want rare earth minerals. We want to be able to have an influence in some part of the world. But we don't want to have soldiers there because once you put soldiers there, it becomes part of your policy, your foreign policy, your domestic policy, you name it. So, I mean, really the U.S. opened it up to where now you just use private military contractors to go put your foot into the door. And then once you get your foot in there, you can expand those guys. We were expendable. Like you can expand it as much as you want. A couple of them die. Nobody gives a crap. Yeah. The Gaza thing, you guys remember there was two guys injured in Gaza, and turns out that somebody went over the little aid fence and threw a grenade and fragged them. Nobody gave a crap. Like nobody researched it. Nobody cared. Like at the end of the day, you put your life on the line for money, and everybody's like, well, you kind of get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Sure. Speaking of Gaza, what's the PMC's role going to be now that Trump's Board of Peace had its first meeting? There's talk of a U.S.-led international stabilization force with peacekeeping members, et cetera, et cetera. What have you heard about that?
Yeah, the peacekeeping and the security stuff is going to be primarily done through other nations. And there's one nation right now that's blocking it, and I can't remember what the hell it is, but Egypt is ready. Turkey's said that they're willing. Indonesia's willing to put like security forces on the ground. But look, the whole reason there's a board of peace for this is because the UN sucks. The UN sucks. Like they are terrible at nation building. They are terrible at getting aid to people. So President Trump was like, I'm going to do this board of peace thing. So now he's got all these nations that are willing to participate in it. And the private military contractors, I know UG Solutions just pitched kind of doing the food aid and some of the other security stuff, because the money is not in these like as much as everybody thinks it's sexy that you go in and you try to take over Venezuela, there's no money in that. I just watched a documentary. Remember that guy that was like the head of Nissan and he got arrested in Japan and they put him in like
he ended up in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Yeah. They ended up smuggling him out with a box, or in an instrument box. Dude, there's no money in that. That's a 2-day op. Yeah, right. You're going to be able to pay your mortgage for a year if you're lucky. The money is in the recurring stuff. And that's what all the PMCs are kind of trying to figure out right now is what's going to happen in Gaza. Because if they do what they want, if they want to turn it into the Gaza Riviera, they're going to have work for probably the next 10, 15, 20 years. The same way that KBR had work in Iraq, DynCorp, all those guys. So that's what they're angling for, is they're trying to say, what is going to be the long-term contracts that we can do to make long-term money with these things? And UG Solutions is kind of at the forefront of it. I'll bet your dollar that Vectis, which is Eric Prince's new gig, most of the stuff is going to be subcontracted. So here's a fun fact I didn't know, is the Blackwater guys that got hanged off the bridge in Fallujah were actually subcontracted through KBR. And everybody was like, oh, it's Blackwater. But it wasn't. It was a KBR contract that subcontracted with Blackwater that got these guys on the ground. So I think that's what everybody's trying to get to, right? Mm-hmm. You might not get the big contracts, but you're definitely going to do something for the security or moving food or moving material or logistics. And dude, it right now it's a free for all. Everybody's pitching everybody else trying to get a hold of those. What is it? $10 billion if you want a seat at the board. Like,
sheesh,
that's a lot of Skrilla, man.
It's real money.
That's real money.
Speaking, you mentioned Vectis Global or Vectis Group. When did Prince form this?
So Prince,
I first read of it on your Instagram post about it.
Yeah. So the guy he's always had like a bunch of LLCs, and they're really hard to track. And I think it costs like $250 to create an LLC. Sure. And I'm pretty sure this is one of those ones that kind of just sat on the back burner forever.
LLC on a shelf? Yeah,
like, because if I'm not mistaken, it's based out of Wyoming. Weird. And yeah, who knew? And he essentially was like, hey, now's my time, right? Like Trump got into office. Mm-hmm. It's been since 2008. So you're looking at, 18 years since he's been in the game for the most part. And he's like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to do Vectis Global. And if you look up what the term Vectis means, I have no idea what it means, to be honest with you. So that's why somebody's going to have to look it up. But essentially Eric Prince is like, look, this is my new Blackwater gig. And the beauty of it is that it is a US LLC. It is a private military contracting company. And it is not hiring a whole lot of U.S. personnel.
Yeah, domiciled in Texas. Domiciled in Texas.
Oh, is it in Texas?
Yeah. In 2016 is when he started it. So.
Yeah, he's been hanging out for 10 years. 10 LLC years. On a shelf.
Vectis is a Latin term meaning carried, conveyed, ridden, or sailed. It is the perfect passive participle of the Latin verb to bear, carry, or transport.
Yeah, no, I mean, that fits. Eric Prince always comes up with like these really cool historical names that nobody's going to understand until they Google it. I'll give that to him. So yeah, dude. So what he's doing is he's going. He's everywhere where there's minerals. Right? He's been down in South America. I think he pitched El Salvador through via Vectis on helping them do. What the hell is it called? It's essentially like CCOT, like doing security for having all these like MS-13 gang members that could go down there. Okay. And then he pitched Venezuela securing their oil fields. That was before Maduro got kicked out. Right now he's hanging out in the Congo, anywhere in Africa. The interesting part of this is that he's actually taking on the Wagner business model. So private military contractors from a U.S. standpoint are pretty young, and they have been very dependent on the government giving them contracts. Where when you look at the longer I don't know, the older model is the Wagner model, where you go into a country and you say, hey, we'll provide security. And in exchange for security, you're going to give us X. So they can go to a large corporation in that country. So Wagner, I don't even remember what it was, but they could go in and they were saying, we'll provide security for your mines, for your minerals. We'll help you get all those taxes. And as part of that, you give us 10% of your revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how Porzingis went from being like a hot dog slinger to a freaking multi-billionaire. Like, because Wagner went out there and this isn't that crazy for most military models. Most military models, especially in like the Middle East and in those Russian bloc countries, they're pretty independent from the actual government itself, right? They're self-funded. They have the ability to raise their own revenue, to be able to pay their own troops, you name it. So Wagner was a natural extension of being able to do that. Now that's what Vectis is doing, is they're going in and they're saying, I will be a part of this. I will help you secure this. And in return, I just want 30% of whatever it is that you're making. Right. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
When you look at it that way.
For the Democratic Republic of Congo, the deal that he negotiated with their government was to improve tax collection from lithium gold mining. And now they're actually providing security to protect those assets.
Yeah. So, dude, and that's where I draw the line, man. You can't be a mercenary and collect taxes. Like that's a dick move, right? Like, but yeah, no. The first thing that like it actually kind of popped in my head is he started this with Haiti. He signed a 10-year contract with Haiti, and one of the things was collect tax revenue. And I was like, what in the hell is he talking about, man? Like this guy, if he could, he probably wouldn't pay a penny to the IRS anyway. And he's like, but don't worry, guys, we're going to help you come out there and collect tax revenue. But it makes perfect sense, right? So when you're moving that material, it's going to, you're going to have to pay people off. It's going to go to different countries. You are going to have a heck of a time making sure that people are actually paying you for it. So being able to go out and collect that revenue is part of the Wagner business model. So for as much as everybody's like, oh, PMCs are different than mercenaries, they're not. Like it's the exact same thing. The interesting part is that Wagner is actually moving away from the mercenary model and moving towards the PMC model, whereas we're moving away from the PMC model and directly into the mercenary model with US PMCs. Which is scary as hell. Let's be honest here.
So moving on to Haiti, it seems the same thing, like you just said, tax collection or border tax collections is what I had read, and surveillance drones. Which
oh, dude, let's not say surveillance drones. Surveillance bomb drones. Let's be honest here. So this is the existential morality question that I think that at some point the U.S. is going to have to look at. So a U.S. company with U.S. employees, and let's be honest, most of the PMC guys are coming from Colombia. We had Colombians in Blackwater. They protected the compounds. They're a hell of a lot cheaper than U.S. people.
Why?
They're usually pretty well trained.
Why so many Colombians? They pop up in Ukraine. I follow the Telegram page, Track a Nazi Merc, where it, tries to document, pretty much be an asshole about celebrate foreign fighters' demise. But why the Colombians? Why do they keep popping up along with Brazilians, like in more numbers than any other Westerners?
Yeah, no, the Brazilians are there because they have that wax that everybody loves to look at. That's just all there is to it. The Colombians are actually a pretty well-trained force. They've been fighting. Look, dude, they've been fighting since the 80s with the drug stuff. And then you train these guys. A lot of them are being trained by U.S. Special Operations guys, right? And then they get done with their military service and they're sitting there, sweeping the floors of an old crappy school in Colombia. And it's a ripe target for people to come in and say, I'll pay you I'm making up numbers here, but I'll pay you $100 a day. You got to go over there. You got to fight. And the Colombians are like, yeah, why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of military age males that kind of like Blackwater 03, 04, 05 that, don't mind getting their war on, want to make some money, and they could do it for 2, 3, 4 years and retire in Colombia. So, you bring up Ukraine. So yeah, Ukraine pulls a lot of Colombians. I don't know if it's funny or not, but what they do is they say these guys aren't mercenaries because we put them in the Ukrainian Foreign Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they pay them. And then on the opposite side, you got Russia that's like, no, these guys are mercenaries. Who gives a crap? And they're pulling them from Colombia, or not from Colombia, from Kenya and all these African nations.
Yeah, Kenya.
Cubans.
And then and then they're like, okay, now we're gonna have these people that have never even heard of these other people. We're gonna have these people fight each other, and that's all right because it's a war. Like it's becoming like a mercenary conflict, which is an absolute hoot.
Yeah.
Because, dude, let's be honest here. If you had like 40 Colombians that you were training and sending out there, or you had 40 Kenyans that you were training and sending out there, and they go out there and they get chewed up, how bad are you going to feel about it? Like you're probably not going to care that much.
Right.
Equipment with central nervous systems. That's basically what they are, right? It's just cars.
They're cannon
tanks.
fodder.
Yeah, cars, tanks, contractors, same shit.
So the Haiti thing. Now that I've gotten us way off topic, man, that's a hard one because I don't know how any of it is legally, I don't know, justified by anybody that's in this process. So essentially what's happening is the Haitian government, let's be honest, Haiti's a shithole. They've been fighting gangs there for as long as Bill Clinton's been giving them money, which is, I think, since like the 1980s. And the gangs are essentially taking over large parts of the actual government infrastructure. Here's the thing. Nobody gives a crap if these gang members stay on the outskirts. That's just how it goes. Once the gang members start getting into like Port-au-Prince, everybody goes, oh, crap, we have a government here. We need to do something about it. So the gang members are slowly taking over Port-au-Prince. It's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. The actual government itself can't do basic government crap. So they said, hey, Eric, I got this problem. And Eric goes, don't worry, I got you, bro. I'm going to bring in these drones that I bought from Walmart. We're going to slap a bunch of explosives on it. And then we're just going to fly them over to these gang members' houses. And we're going to blow them up. And the Haitian government's like, well, it's worth a shot. Like nothing else is working. And there was an article, I think I posted it. They ended up hitting a birthday party and killing a number of kids. And this is where it gets into that legal ambiguity because you realize that there's probably not the same targeting apparatus that we had when we used drones. There just isn't. All right. There's not the signal intelligence is robust. You don't have a bunch of people that are sitting there saying, yes, this person is gang member. This is what they're doing. This is how they're moving. And even then, dude, like right after the bombing at the airport in Afghanistan, we went and blew up a bunch of innocent people targeting them with a drone. So dude, even as much as robust as we have, it's not perfect. And now you have a private military contractor. I don't know how they're doing their targeting. I don't know what kind of signal intelligence they're getting, and they're just blowing up people. And I don't have the moral high ground by any stretch of the imagination, but that's extrajudicial killing. Like at the end of the day, you're picking somebody, you're saying, hey, that's a bad dude. Let's go blow him up. Mm-hmm. Now, when somebody gets in the way of that, when you hit the birthday party, now who was liable? And this is where I think the U.S. needs to start looking at the private military contracting career field and the companies and say, what can and can't you do? Because I don't give a crap how you chalk it up. The guys in Gaza, same way with the guys in Haiti. You are a U.S. firm that is being employed by a foreign government, and you're doing some kind of work. And people say, well, it's not offensive, it's defensive. Look, putting explosives on a drone is offensive. I don't care how you chalk it up. driving aid from place A to place B with a bunch of machine guns, that's an offensive operation. All right. Like in my head, we could split hairs all day. That's what lawyers need to do at some point. But can you sit there and justify it and say a U.S. company with U.S. passport holders are going and killing people without due process? And the truth is, yes, you can, because nobody gives a shit about international law. Nobody listens to it. Nobody cares. But at the same time, if a U.S. passport holder that is either working for that government or living in that shithole that they're in gets hit by one of these, like, what are the legal repercussions and who has jurisdiction? And I think nobody wants to touch that, right? And it all goes back to, it's better than putting boots on the ground. I can put these PMCs over there. I can tacitly say, hey, Eric Prince, go tax people and make money. And at the end of the day, I don't have to take responsibility for it until I absolutely have to take responsibility. And I think we're going to get to that. I think we're going to get there at some point.
They should have listened to Jacques Duracell, the god of Haiti.
Yeah, the god of Haiti told him.
Yeah.
That's not the guy you guys were talking about to try to take over Haiti, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Maybe Eric Holder could chime in and tell us how, you can bomb people with drones, innocent people with drones, and and no problems. Pretty sure he had a defense for that, right?
He did.
I can't remember what it was. It was something. He had a speech. I remember there was a speech, right? He gave after, what was it, like a wedding got bombed in Afghanistan or something by drones, and there was a whole big hullabaloo during the Obama administration. I can't
well,
remember
and he killed that U.S. guy, Al Zawahiri, without due process. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, you bring up a good point, is that what are the legal ramifications? And nobody has had to sit there and look at those legal ramifications yet, because it hasn't really happened. But once you hit somebody that's a U.S. citizen, you're going to have to look at that. Like, I mean, dude, the best example is 2004 Fallujah, where the 4 Blackwater guys got killed. And nobody knew that we had private military contractors. Nobody knew what they did. And all of a sudden it was like, now you have 4 dead Americans that were being paraded through the streets. And it changed our entire foreign policy. It changed our war policy. We sent the Marines in to go, clear Fallujah. Then we stopped and we sent the Marines in to clear Fallujah again. And because these 4 guys died, Marines ended up losing their life. Right? Like, we knew Fallujah was a shithole. We knew that it was a bastion for the insurgency, but we kind of just let it be. But because you have something where you have civilians on a battlefield and something bad happens, it's like, now we got to change our war footing. And I don't think people realize the gravity of it, because let's say one of those guys that's in Gaza gets captured when they're rebuilding Gaza. Like, what happens? What do you do militarily? How do you actually react to that? There was another guy, I think I talked to you guys about it, but he was an Air Force guy up in Kurdistan on the Turkish side, and he ended up getting captured. And like, I don't think we've done anything for it, because who cares? But there's both sides of the argument. One is he was a private military contractor over in Turkey working with the Kurds, and the Kurds are considered a terrorist organization by the Turkish. So screw him. And then there's another one that's like, dude, he's a U.S. passport holder. He pays taxes. Like, we have an obligation to go and get him. And as long as they can keep kicking the can down the road and ignoring it, they're going to, man.
With the Prince's drones and Vectis, or his company Vectis in Haiti, are they putting like Haitian police in the, I guess, pilot in command of the drone, or are they doing it themselves? Like, I guess that would be splitting hairs as far as who they can assign blame to later. Like, no, the Haitian government did this.
You're like, who was holding the Xbox controller when the sub blew up? I'm not sure, but I think you're right. It is splitting hairs. He's bringing people over to be able to show how to do this effectively, and whether or not he's the one that's pointing at the person that they want to bomb, or it's the Haitian police officers. They're still taking something that is extremely lethal, and they're teaching somebody else, right?
Sure.
So I I don't. For me, it's pretty black and white. It's like, look, you're a mercenary. You're going over there. You're blowing people up. Um, but at the end of the day, the Haitian people are going to have to be the ones that stand up. Maybe the Haitian people. Who knows? I don't have any relatives in Haiti. But maybe one day they're going to sit there and say, okay, I don't really like this. And they're going to have to stand up and say no. But as of right now, the Haitians, they seem to be kind of just dealing with it. I mean, there was the article that I posted where the lady's like, who's going to pay for this? Who's going to,
that was going
who's
to be
at
my
fault?
next question for you. Like, who is paying? International community, I guess, is going to pay Vectis, or
Well, dude, this is the problem with all the money.
Promised down the road, or
What do they say? Money is fungible, which I don't even know exactly what that means. But I do know that it means if you give somebody $10 and they spend it on something that you want them to, but then they take the $10 that they made and they go and they do something horrible with it, is it not exactly the same as, them taking the $10 and doing something horrible? So that's the problem right now with all the money that's flowing into Gaza, into Ukraine. I think the UN actually just pushed through a big, I don't know, resolution or something to be able to get policing units down in Haiti, which opens up the door for UN funding, which essentially means, US money going through the UN, going over there to help with the policing effort. But we tried this. I think they had Kenyan peacemakers there, and they were like, bro, this is real. I'm not freaking doing this. And they all jammed out. So having the UN cover for the US funding it, that is ultimately going to go either to the government of Haiti that pays Vectis, or it's going to go directly to Vectis. I don't think it matters, man. Like, either way, your tax dollars at work, they went to Gaza, right? They were like, oh no, we don't have enough money to pay these guys to get food. And the US is like, don't worry, we got you guys. We're going to send this through the UN, who's going to send it through the global, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation that goes directly to SRS and UG Solutions. Like, it's a nice scapegoat to be able to do the Spider-Man meme, and you're pointing at other people and saying, he had the money. No, he had the money. No, he had the money. But at the end of the day, the money gets to where it needs to go. And the PMCs are going to make a shit ton off it.
Well, cool. I think we've hit all the top high notes: Haiti, Gaza, DRC, and Ukraine.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I mean, from a strategy standpoint, I don't think anybody's telling Eric Prince to go out and do this stuff. I think Eric Prince, he's a smart guy. He's a good businessman, and he's going out there and he's saying, where is the U.S. going to want to invest for its future? And the future is rare earth minerals and it's oil, right? Your short term is oil, your long term is rare earth minerals. He's going out to these places and he's trying to get his foot into the door first, so that when the U.S. says, hey, by the way, DRC or South Africa or any of those places that nobody knows about, Somalia, you guys see that Somaliland is going to be its own country now. And then you'll still have that crap hold at Somalia. He's trying to be there so that when the U.S. says, hey, we're willing to put in infrastructure and funding, and they say, okay, if that's great, we've already got security set up. Hey, Eric, here's your payment. Dude, it's genius. Like, you got to give the guy credit. I'm interested. The one thing that I keep seeing, having been a PMC or mercenary, whatever you want to call me, is all these guys are like, where do I sign up? And it's not creating any jobs for U.S. citizens. He's not recruiting. Like, look, there's going to be the head shed. There's going to be the people that help you with your, payroll. But at the end of the day, like, he is grabbing people from anywhere he can get them to do this that is not U.S.
Yeah, I noticed for the DRC stuff or activities, it was Israeli contractors. Are they just kind of the same, like in the same bucket as like Colombians, cheaper, well-trained, and been fighting for, a few wars under their belts?
Yeah, dude. I mean, so Blackwater, there's this idea that Blackwater was all Navy SEALs and Special Forces guys, and then somehow I just got in there, luckily. Most of us were not like former cool guy, hua dudes, because you don't need those guys. right?
Mhm.
Like you can get the job done with guys like me, pay me $500 a day. And then those guys can go do different contracts like, the ones Sean Ryan did, the GRS and all the others. I don't think you need for what they're trying to do. I don't think you need the gunslingers, man, as much as you just need the guys that can sit there and stand on a post. And dude, I'll tell you what, the Colombians were spectacular at it. We never had a problem. You guys deployed overseas, didn't you?
Yeah,
Not me.
So,
Not me.
I mean, well, you missed out because we had the Ugandan guards overseas, and these guys were like the worst. I mean, I walked out of my chew one day and there's this female Ugandan guard that's throwing a red bucket of piss right outside her front door. Like, dude, the Ugandans were just literally mouth breathers. And you'd walk by and they're sitting there on top of one of the fences and like they're sleeping and shit. Like they didn't care. Okay, so you need somebody better than the Ugandans, but you don't need former U.S. trained special operations guys. And I think that's where the sweet spot's going to be to make the most money is you go and you get these people from Colombia. Now, here's the other, I don't think I posted about it. So the UAE is recruiting Colombians to go work in their oil fields. This is spectacular. Like, dude, I love this. So they're like, hey, come work in our oil fields. They bring them in. And then instead of going to the oil fields, they send them into Sudan and they're getting chewed up, dude. They're getting absolutely slaughtered. So this is the other problem with PMCs is like, it's so shadowy that dude, it's like one guy in Colombia. I can't remember his name, but he's literally like, hey, I'm a private military contractor. UAE has these open gigs. These people apply, they go to UAE, and then they send them down into Africa, and they're just getting absolutely like just killed. And you're like, the families have no idea what's going on. They're not able to get bodies back. Like it is like the scummiest of the scum. But dude,
is that those two factions where the government fractured and you got like the rapid support forces and whoever the other side is, they're just UAE's backing one of those, or
yeah. So Sudan is I don't know, dude. It's Sudan. Let's be honest here. So there's going to be a reason to fight. But yeah, the UAE is essentially backing one side, and they're sending Colombians in, and they're just absolutely getting. I mean, the same thing happened in Ukraine and Russia, right? Like. Yeah. You grab the Kenyans, you say, hey guys, I saw that they were doing something on Facebook. They're like, hey guys, or Instagram, hey Kenyans, we'll pay you guys to come over here. Don't worry, it's going to be nice and safe. And then they throw them to the front lines. Like it's disturbing from like a moral standpoint, but it's kind of hilarious if you really sit back and think like these people are really dumb enough to think that they're going to go to Ukraine and be like, oh, don't worry, guys. We're going to have you cooking for us.
It could be like, hey, I'm a Ukrainian prince and I did some research and you're part of my family. So come over here and get your inheritance.
But instead of sending me $10,000, I just need you to come here.
And I'll tell you where the $10,000 is at. It's over that.
Yeah, dude, this is 2004 all over again, man. Like on a global scale. This is, I think you're going to see private military contractors, mom and pop organizations that are popping up and able to get these big contracts, and they end up screwing them up. There's going to be a shit ton of fraud. There's going to be like I don't know, maybe it's my obsession with the 2004 Blackwater thing, but essentially as a subcontractor, they made the argument that they didn't have to have armored vehicles, which is why those guys didn't have armored vehicles, and ended up getting hit in Fallujah. Like it's just, I think we have learned zero lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan, or maybe we learned those lessons, but it's just cheaper and easier to kind of try to start again and do it from scratch.
Or maybe the lesson that they learned was it kind of worked. You know, they fought a war for 20 years. Nobody got pissed until 20 years later, you know?
I mean, that is accurate too. And there's a hell of a lot of money in war. So
yeah.
Well, Morgan, this has been fun. We appreciate your insight as always.
Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna see if I can put you guys on that email string that I get talks about. I mean, dude, the stuff in Africa is absolutely crazy. the black continent that everybody's ignored for like the last 100 years. All of a sudden, everybody's like, that looks like a good place to go hang out.
Also, Morgan, if people want to follow your work on the internets, what's the best place or outlets to find you?
I mean, if you want to follow my painting career, it's better than Joe Biden's kid, whatever the hell his name is. No, I'm on Instagram. I'm at BlackwaterDude1. And so at BlackwaterDude, the number 1. I got the book out, Guns, Girls, and Greed. I was a Blackwater mercenary in Iraq. And then private military news, I just do that kind of as a side thing because I think it's interesting to see where all these PMCs are. So I don't even know how. I probably misspelled it, to be honest with you guys, but there's a black symbol that says PMC on it if you're looking for it.
Well, cool. We appreciate it. And that's going to be a wrap for episode 23 with Morgan Lerette.